This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so in the last class, we have seen how to do the recording of transactions. Based on that recording, a program will be generated. We need to manually modify that particular program to map it to what our legacy system. So that changes we can do only if you understand the concept of what call transaction and what session technique. Okay, now what I'll do now is let me take this. I'll take the same file. One second. Not same file. I want to discuss this one. BDC using what? Table control. BDC using table control. So just to understand this, already we know what is table control in our normal ABAP. Sorry, in our module pool. Okay. So here, suppose we have a table what vendor. Okay. Suppose if you go to SC11, we have a table called as what LFA1, which stores what vendor master data. Vendor master data. Okay, vendor master data. What is the key field here? Listener account number of what vendor. Similarly, we have a table LFBK. Okay, vendor what master bank details. Vendor master bank details. Okay, so just try to understand this. Let me go to LFA1 table. Let's see how many records are there in this table. LFA1 and what is the other table? LFBK. Okay, done. So how many entries are there? 2819 records are there. 2819. LFBK. Let me check the LFBK table. Vendor master bank details. Number of entries are 1158. 1158. Done. Now what I'll do is, where do we create the vendor? By using the T code what? XK01. XK01. Okay. So let me try to uh, record the transaction code what? XK01. Or before recording, let me run the T code XK01. What is the purpose of XK01? To create the vendor. So if I go to XK01, right, vendor name it is asking. I'll give the vendor name as okay, I'll not give any vendor name, or let us give vendor name. Yeah, I'm not giving any vendor name. I'll just press enter. It is giving what? Specify the account group. So I'll give the account group as 00 what? 1. 0001. What is this 0001? What is this? Vendor so and so. Okay, done. Some account group I'm giving. I'm not giving any vendor number. So if you don't give any vendor number, it will dynamically generate the vendor number. So just try to understand the concept and press enter. Yeah, I got the next screen. I'll give the name. I'll give the name as something what ABAP 1. Search term. I'll give it as something A1. Some text. Then country it is asking. I'll give the country as what something what India. Done. So in my initial screen, I gave the account group. Then I pressed enter. In this screen, I gave the name, search term, and what country. Let me check whether this data is sufficient to create the vendor. I'll click on save. Yeah, account 612 has been created. So for this account group, vendor number is automatically created. Vendor number has got internal assignment. Internal assignment means the vendor number will be proposed by what? SAP itself. What is that? 612 is a vendor. Let me go and check the table. 2820. Earlier, how many entries are there? 2819. So now I got 2820. Done. Okay, let me go to LFBK table. How many? 1158. Earlier also 1158. So there is no change here because I have not inserted any bank record for that particular vendor. Now see once again. Again I'm in xk01. Try to understand. Again I'm in xk01. For practice purpose, you also give the account group as what? You also give the account group as what? 0001. I'll press enter. I'll give some name here. I'll give the name as something ABAP 2. Search term, I'll give something A2. Country, I'll give India. Earlier, what I did, directly clicked on save button. Now, what I want is, what are the vendor I'm creating now? For that vendor, I want to capture the bank details. Okay, so far we are entering the data in the input fields. Na? Input fields can can read only one value. Na? These are all the input fields only. I'll press enter. I got the next screen. Again, these are also input fields. Na? Done. There are no mandatory fields. I'll press enter. Right. I got a screen where I'm having a table control. This is nothing but a table control. Na? This is nothing but a table control. So I'll give the country here. I'll give the country as India. Bank key. I'll give the bank key as something SBI. Bank account number. I'll give some account number. Then again I'll give India. I'll give something RBI. I'll give the bank account number. Okay. Then again I'll give India. I'll give something PNB. I'll give some account number. Done. There's some data I'm giving. Right? So what is this vendor here? Internal means what? Internal assignment. The vendor number will be proposed by SAP itself. Right? So I'm trying to create 3 bank records in the table control. I'll save it. Okay, I got some information. No problem. Continue. 613 vendor number 613 has been created. So let me go and check the tables. How many? 2821. 2821. So now I got one entry here. 2821. What is the vendor number? Just now created 613. Na? So I'll give the vendor number 613. Execute this. Vendor number is 613. Yes. India ABAP to A2. Done. Okay. Let me check in LFBK table. Earlier there was no change in this table. Now 1161. 1161. How many entries got added? 3 entries got added because I inserted 3 bank records. Na? So in this LFBK also we have the vendor number. What is the vendor number? 613. Right. So these are the 3 bank records. Na? Understood. So what I am trying to show here is in my transaction XK01, when I'm trying to create the vendor, there is one screen which contains what? Table control. Table control means where we can enter multiple records. No? So I entered some 3 records. For the first vendor, I have not captured any bank records, so there were no change in the table entries. For the second vendor, yes, I navigated to the screen containing what? Table control. In that I enter the data. So what is my requirement now? This is the requirement. See here. I'm having a file. I'm having a file vendor in D drive. This is the file. Okay. So my this particular file contains both vendor master data, and vendor bank details. See this file here. Okay, there is some identifier here. What is the identifier? VN. I give some number. Then we have something 400 here. 400. I'll give different number here. 800. Done. So just observe here. This file contains both vendor master data as well as vendor bank data. Vendor master data as well as what? Vendor bank data. Okay. So how can you tell which is master data and which is bank data? Means if the record is starting with VN, I'll assume that is what? Vendor master data. Means which table data? LF1. If the record is starting with the BNK, I'll understand that is what? Vendor bank data. That is LFBK table. Okay. So what are the fields I gave here? See, this is my vendor number. This is my account group, I think. And this is vendor name, I think. This is search term and this is country key. Okay. Again, this is what? Identifier, vendor number. In LFBK also we have the vendor number. Vendor number, bank country key, okay, bank key, and this is bank account number. So for this vendor 800, how many bank records are there? See, 3 bank records. For the next vendor, we have two bank records. For the next vendor, I am having only one bank record. So a vendor might contain one or more bank records. We don't know that. So this is my file. So in the real time also, the file will be given to us. We need to understand that. So what is the understanding here? If the record is starting with VN, I'll understand that as vendor master data. If the record is starting with BNK, I'll understand that as vendor bank data. Okay, so this is my data. This is my data in the file. Okay, so I repeat this. This is some identifier. This is vendor number, vendor account group, vendor name, vendor search term, and country key. Again, this is vendor number in the LFBK table, vendor bank country key. This is vendor bank key, and this is an account number. Account number. These are all the fields from which table? LFBK table. Okay, so this data I want to migrate it to what? SAP system, right? So am I clear? So each vendor might contain multiple dependent entries, three bank records. This vendor has got two bank records. This vendor has got only one bank record. Okay, so this is my file which I want to migrate. Done. I stored it in what? D drive. So what I have to do now, I understood how to use the T code XK01. Why I am using XK01? Because my file is having what? Vendor data. So now I need to do the recording. How do you do the recording? SHDB na. So I'll go to what? SHDB. 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 So here I'll choose new recording. I'll give the recording name as something R2. Transaction code, which recording you want to record, which transaction you want to record, XK01. Okay, I'll give the transaction code as what? XK01. XK01. Why? Because my file is having what? Vendor data. Start recording. We should carefully record it. Before you record it, first of all, you have to go through that XK01 transaction. You should know what are the mandatory fields, which field is there in which screen. Okay, so anyhow, we understood that. I'll click on start recording. Done. It is asking the vendor number. Anyhow, your file is having the vendor number na, so I'll give the vendor number as something 799. Okay, then account group, I'll give the account group as something 0001. I'll press enter. Done. Understood? I gave the vendor number 799. I gave the account group as 0001. Name, I'll give the name as something so and so name. Okay. Then I'm giving the data only for the mandatory field. Search term, I'll give the search term as something so and so. Then country key, I'll give the country key as what? India. Country key as India. So in this screen, I am providing the data for how many fields? Three fields. In the first screen, I entered the data for what? Vendor number and account group. Okay, done. I'll press enter. Done. I'll press enter. Yeah, now I got this what? Screen which is having the table controller. I'll give the country key, India. I'll give the bank key. I'll give it something SBH. Then I'll give the account number. I'll give some account number. Right. Only one record I'm inserting, no problem. I'll click on what? Save. So click on save. Okay, this is some information. Continue. Done. Recording is complete. Transaction has been what? Transferred. Let me save it. So once the recording is completed, what happens? What will happen? SAP will display the recording details mapped with what? BDC data. Once the recording is completed, SAP will display the recorded details mapped with what? BDC data. Mapped with BDC data. So I got it. Okay, mapped with BDC data. So what I have to do in this recording details, I should make a note of the field names for which we gave the sample data. Na? So this is my program, this is my screen number. In this screen, I gave what? Vendor number and I gave what? Account group. So make a note of this. This is my first screen. RFZ2K-Lifnar. This is account group RSG2K-KTOKK. Srinivas Kumar. What is the name of the screen field? Okay, if you make a note only, we'll understand where to do the changes. S Kumar, LFA1 hyphen sort L, then India, LFA1 hyphen land 1. Then what else? Nothing is there in this screen. Nothing is there in this screen. Yeah, this is important. See here. I gave one record in the table controller India. Since I gave only one record, see here. What is the row number? It is suffixing 01. If you have inserted two records, I'll get the next row number as 02. Means the field name is a combination of field name suffixed with what? Row number. Suffixed with row number. LFBK-bank is 01. This is SBH. LFBK-bank L. Then this is so and so. LFBK-bank N. Done. Okay. So I got the data. I collected the field names. You understand the concept here? 01. Why 01? In my table control, I inserted only one record. So the index of the table control row number will be what? 01. Next row will be 02. So what is the change you have to understand is if it is a normal input field, the field name will be like this. If it is a field in the table control, the field name will be suffixed with what? Corresponding row number. Understood? If it is a normal input field, the field name will be in this format. If it is a field of a table control, the field name will be suffixed with what? Row number. The field name will be suffixed with what? Row number. The field name will suffix with row number. Okay. Is it clear to everyone? This part? Okay, so I'll take this only. So this is my recording. Let me save it. Go back. So what is my recording? R2, not today's date. I'll just choose this. I'll click on what? Program. Understood? One transaction. How many screens? Four screens I visited. Click on that. Program. Program name. I'll give the program name as Z7MBDC7. Continue. Provide the title. Type of program is executable program. Click on source code. Local updates. So I need to make the changes in this program. Okay. So before that, once again I'll record. Just try to understand. How do you record? SHDV. Okay, I'll click on new recording. I'll give the recording name as something R3. What is the T code? XK01. Start recording. Vendor number, I'll give 798. I'll give the account group as what? 0001. For practice purpose, you give this account group as 0001. Press enter. Name, I'll give the name as something. Okay, search term. Country, done. I got the next, press enter. I got this table control. I'll give India. Bank key, I'll give some bank key. Done. I'll give one more record. Right, so I gave two records. Let me save it. Done. Recording is complete. So these field names are same, no problem in that. Observe this one. If you scroll down, yeah, you can see for the first record, the table control field name is suffixed with 01. For the second record, it is suffixed with 02. So what is the row ID is there? 01, 02, 03 kind of thing. Is it clear to everyone? Okay, the main concept in BDC is in table control is this only. For normal input fields, the field name will be in this format. But for table control fields, the field name will be suffixed with what? Corresponding row number. Corresponding row number. So if you take your file, okay, so this is the first record for that vendor. This is the second record. This is the third record. So 01, 02, 03. And for this vendor, again 01, 02. For this vendor, it is only 01. Am I clear? That is the understanding. Any questions so far? Please ask.
Sir, one question like
Yes.
suppose if you are using BDC for adding new bank details.
Okay.
So there are already 10 banks added. So I'm adding the 11th bank details. So
Okay.
what
No,
we can
no.
do is like we can get
See,
the bank details from the table and check the number of entries, and accordingly we can append one more entry with the, suppose if you have 10 entries, if you are adding the 11th one, so you can put that 01, instead of 01 you can put 11, something like that.
no, no, no. See here. What is the agenda here? Data migration. Okay.
Correct,
So we
correct,
are trying to migrate the data. We don't know whether the data is already there or not there. We are not bothered
correct,
about
sir.
that. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the program, what it will do, if the record is not there, it will insert. If the record is already there, it will update. Okay, so
correct.
we should not bother about whether record is already there or it is a new record. Understood? So
Yeah,
what I am trying to say here is, when I recorded XK01, XK01 is not create vendor. So I'm trying to create a
correct.
new vendor. Okay.
Yeah.
So for that vendor, for the first vendor, I captured only one bank record. That's why
Hmm.
the field name is 01 only. Okay. For the
Correct,
second
correct.
vendor, I captured two bank records. So the field
Okay,
names will suffix with the corresponding row ID. Understood?
okay. Yeah,
But what is
correct,
your
correct.
doubt? I didn't understood. What is your doubt?
Because in the table control we have vertical scroll bar and horizontal scroll bar, right, sir?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
uh, like, will we use these scroll bars in recording somewhere, like for adding new rows? Suppose if you are doing in foreground,
Okay. Hmm. No, no.
so how to scroll?
Yeah, here, in my file, I don't know whether that vendor is in 10 records or 20 records. Okay.
Correct, sir. Correct.
We are not bothered. So even if there are more records, automatically the
Hmm.
scroll bar will appear here. If you go to this
Yeah.
XK01,
Correct, correct, correct. But
okay. Hmm.
automatically
Tell
it
me.
will be handled, sir, the scroll bar.
Yeah, automatically, automatically.
Okay,
When
because
in
I
our
never worked on
case,
BD, so that's
in,
why
a-
table control.
in,
Yeah.
in our case,
Uh-huh.
vertical scrolling was not there. So we have set one lines property. But here this is
Right.
standard transaction, na? So that the
Correct.
horizontal vertical will be available by default.
Okay. So suppose, sir, in the foreground when you are recording, you entered only three records, right? Suppose if
Correct.
you enter 10 records, so obviously
Hmm.
you need to use the scroll bar to scroll down, right? To enter the new
Correct.
record. So
Correct.
that time,
Yes. Hmm.
so the scroll, that whatever action you are recording, right? So you won't be
Hmm.
using that in the your program, right? In the actual BDC program.
No, I'll not disturb that part. I'll not disturb
So
that part.
okay. Uh-huh. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Tell me, tell me.
So suppose when you are recording, you done the recording for 10 records, so use the scroll bar. So but when you
Okay.
are actually doing, for one
Hmm.
vendor there is only two bank details, and for one
Hmm.
vendor there are 20 bank details.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
so for the second vendor, which is who is having 20 bank details, so you need to use the
Hmm.
scroll bar a couple of times.
No, anyhow, I am not going to do the data migration foreground. Na. It will be in the background only. It will be in
Okay.
the background only because you will have lakhs of records. There is no
Correct, sir.
meaning if you do it in the foreground. So when you do it in
Yeah.
the background, automatically SAP will take care of that. Whether it is one record or
Oh,
100 records, it will
okay.
automatically manage that
Correct. Okay. Okay.
because we are
Yeah.
going to write the logic in the loop. So for
Hmm.
the first vendor, it might loop only two times. For the second vendor, if I'm having 20 records, it will loop 20 times, inner loop. So
Okay,
you,
so there is no, okay, okay. Even though you are using that scroll bar in the recording, but
hmm,
actually it won't affect your program,
effect.
right?
No,
Because
nothing,
you are
nothing.
handling the record number 010203.
Yeah, generally when I'm recording, you will
Uh,
not insert first of all more than one record. You'll insert only one record
Correct, sir. Yeah,
because we are more concerned with what field name. We
correct,
fill in,
correct.
and rest
Yeah.
of the part this you have to construct in your file.
Okay,
If
sir.
you're having three records, it should go to
Hmm.
01 to 03. For the second
Okay,
vendor, I am have 10 records, so it should start again from 01 to 10, like that.
correct,
So
correct.
it will
Okay, sir.
control with our logic. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
done. So the main concept in BDC using table control is the table control field names will be dynamic, whereas the other input field names will be static. This will never change, but the table control field names will be dynamic. Dynamic in the sense the field name depends upon the corresponding row ID. Field name depends upon the corresponding row ID. So now already the program is generated. Let us modify it. So SC38. What is the program? Z7M BDC 7. 1 second, please. Yeah. So now this is my program. So what I have to do now, I should declare the what declarations. Then I have to do the mapping, all those things. So I'll take three internal tables here. I'll take three internal tables. Okay, let us take those three internal. Then I'll explain. So somewhere before start of selection, begin of ty underscore legacy. Ty underscore legacy. I'll take str typort string. End of ty underscore legacy. Then I'll declare an internal table t underscore legacy type table of ty underscore legacy. Then w underscore legacy type ty underscore legacy. Now, why two internal tables? Because my file is having data related to LFA1 table and LFBK table. So keeping that in mind, types begin of ty underscore what LFA1. Yeah, if you see the file here, this is a file. The first field is a new identifier. The first field is a new identifier. I am concerned with the rest of the fields. Like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields. Huh? Do you have those 5 fields here? Lifnar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 fields are there. Okay. And if you see the second record here, if you see the second record, again this is Lifnar. LFBK also contains account vendor number, and this is bank country key, bank key, and account number. So those are these fields. This one, bank S, bank L, bank N. So see what I'll do. These are the structures, right? Okay, done. So keeping this in mind, see the declaration. So what is the first field here? Lifnar. So I'll take Lifnar type. I don't know which table it is there, so I'll directly refer to this. RF02K-Lifnar. Done. Then what is the next field there? Account group KTOKK. Type so and so. Done. Next, what else? LFA1 hyphen name one. Name one type LFA1 hyphen lif1. Next what? Search term. Sort L type so and so. Then land one. Done. Comma. What? End of what? Ty underscore LF1. So how many fields I took here? 5 fields. But if you see the file once again, we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I am not considering the first field because it is only an identifier. Then in the second line for bank details, we are having what? 4 fields, na? 4 fields apart from the identifier. So keep that in mind. So I'll declare an internal table based on this data t underscore lfa1 type what table of ty underscore lfa1. I'll declare a work area w underscore lfa1 type ty underscore lfa1. Then types one more internal table begin of ty underscore lfbk type. Yeah, here also lfbk table also contains what listener. If you see this lfbk table, this also contains what lifnr, that is account number. Then we have a bank country, we have bank key and bank account number, bank n, bank account number, bank S, bank L, bank N, and listener also is there in the LFBK table. So what I'll do here, same field I'll take. I'll take the same field. What is the field name say? They're referring to LFBK na. So here also I'll refer to LFBK. I can refer to this also, no problem. Leave it. What is the next field here? Bank N, bank S, bank S. Type so and so. Done. Then what? LFBK bank L. Type so and so. Bank N. Okay, end of what? Ty underscore LFBK. Done. Then also data T underscore LFBK type table of Ty underscore LFBK. I'll declare a work area W underscore LFBK type Ty underscore LFBK. Understood? So this is my temporary internal table. This is my one final internal table referring to LFA1 fields. This is another final internal table which is referring to what? LFBK fields. Done. Then what I'll do? I'll take one field LV underscore row ID. Row ID. Row ID, what is the sequence I'll get? 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3 kind of thing. Na? So if I take it as type I, what is the default value? 0. If I increment by 1, it becomes 1. Then it becomes 2. But I want the row IDs in which format? 0, 1, 0, 2 kind of thing. So keeping that in mind, I'll say LV underscore row ID of 2 type N. Type N means alpha numeric. Alpha numeric. So by default it is 0, 0. When I say plus 1, it becomes 0, 1. When I say again plus 1, 0, 2, like that. So why I went for type N? Because I want in that format 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3 kind of thing. Done. So I declared it. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. I'll take one more field here. What is that field is? Yeah. In the file, if you see, there is an identifier, na? A 3-digit identifier, which will tell whether it is master data or whether it is bank data. 3-digit identifier. Keeping that identifier in mind, I'll declare a variable here. I'll declare a variable. Let me give a variable name as LV underscore ID of 3 type what? C. Type what? C. Character. Done. So I declared the variables. Done. Start of selection. Open data set. This is not required because this is related to which statement? Open data set. Open data set when we use when the file is on the application server. So I don't require this subroutine. I'll comment it. What I'll do now, I will read the data. Okay, here for your understanding again. For your understanding, I'll give a comment here. What is this? Begin of custom changes, so that you'll understand where I have done the changes. And here also I'll say what? End of what? Custom changes. Done. Then here I'll say again begin of what? Custom changes and end of what? Custom changes. So between this I'll write the logic. So what is the first step I have to do now? Read data from what? Read data from legacy system to what? Temporary internal table. Temporary internal table. So what is that file? Where is available? Local system, not text file. So what is the function module value? GUI underscore upload. File name. What is the file name? D drive. What is the file name? Vendor.txt. D drive vendor.txt. Done. Then these things are not required for me now. Done. Then I'll take the internal table. What is the internal table? T underscore legacy. So I'll get the entire data into T underscore legacy. T underscore legacy. Then I'll say if T underscore legacy is not initial, what I have to do now? I have to transfer data from temporary internal table to respective final internal tables. We have two final internal tables. We have two final internal tables. So I need to transfer it there. I need to transfer it there. So transfer data from temporary internal table to respective final internal table. So I'll say, yeah, what is that? Loop at T underscore legacy into W underscore legacy. Then also what? End loop. Done. So yeah, when I loop, each record will come to work area. Na? So see what I'll do. I declared one variable LV underscore ID. Na? I declared a variable LV underscore ID of 3 what? Type C. So here I'll extract the first three characters. LV underscore ID equal to W underscore legacy hyphen. What is the field in this? STR? Yes, there is a field what? STR. So STR plus 0 of 3. So what is the meaning of that? From this work area, I am extracting three characters starting from the index what? 0. That will come and sit in what? LV underscore ID. So I'll say now, if LV underscore ID is equal to what? Vendor, then do so and so. Else if LV underscore ID equal to what? B and K, do so and so. Okay, so if the identifier is vendor, I need to transfer this data into first internal table. If the ID is BNK, I need to transfer this data to what? Second internal table. So what I'll do now, if LV underscore ID equal to vendor, I'll say what? Hmm. Yeah, or this is split what? W underscore legacy hyphen str at what? Comma into, again it will split from the beginning. So first field is what? ID only na? LV underscore ID. Then what are the rest of the fields? W underscore LF1 hyphen Lifnar. This one. Lifnar KTOKK. Name one, sort L and land one. Okay, so here I'll say KTOKK. What else? Name one, sort L and what? Land one. Then I'll say here what? Append W underscore legacy to what? T underscore what? Legacy. Append W legacy to T underscore legacy. Done. Then here also again same thing. Split so and so into W underscore LFBK. LFBK hyphen Lifnar. What else? Bank S, Bank L, and Bank N. Okay, then here also I'll say append W underscore legacy, W underscore legacy to what? Oh, this is not, oh, I'm sorry, boss. No one has told me. W underscore LFA1 to what? T underscore what? LFA1. Here also append W underscore LFBK to T underscore what? LFBK. Done. Here I'll clear the work area LFA1. Here I'll clear the work area LFBK. LFBK. Done. And if and loop. That's it. So I'll just explain this logic. So I declared three internal tables. One is temporary internal tables and two final internal tables. One internal table refers to vendor master data, LFA1 table. Another internal refers to what? Vendor bank details, LFBK table. First, I'm reading the data from local text file to the temporary internal table. I'm looping it. When you loop, each record will come to work area. Na? So we know that in the file, the first three fields are identifier only. Na? So I'm extracting that identifier from every record. If the identifier is vendor, I need to transfer it to what? First internal table. If the identifier is B and K, I need to transfer it to what? Second internal table. That's what the logic I wrote here. Done. So I'll get the data into what? The final internal tables. Now the actual logic. Open group. Yeah, open group subroutine is required because if I double click, what is the logic in that? They're trying to create the session object. Yes, we require it. Then do. No, we don't require do here. We are using loop na. So I'll comment this. When there is no open data set, there is no read data set. When there is no read data set, there is no need to check the status. So yesterday we had only one final internal table. Now here we are having two final internal tables. One is LFA1, another is what? LFBK. What is the main internal table? LFA1. Why? Already we know the relationship between the tables, these two tables. Na? Each vendor of LFA1 table might contain one or more bank records in LFBK. Na? Each vendor in LFA1 might contain one or more bank records in what? LFBK table. Okay, so the main internal table here is what? T underscore LFA1. So what I'll do somewhere here, I will loop it. Loop at what is the main internal table? T underscore LFA1 into W underscore what? LFA1. So I'm looping the main internal table. Yeah. So first what they are doing, they are mapping the program information done. Already we made a note of the field names. Now what is the first field? RF02K-liftnar. Check where they are mapping here. Yeah, here only na. RF02K-liftnar. So comment this recorded value and pass your work area value. What is that? W underscore LF1 hyphen what? Hyphen what? LIFNR. Done. What is the next field? RF02K hyphen KTOKK. Here only. Again, comment the recorded value and pass your work area value. W underscore LF1 hyphen KTOKK. Done. Next is what? LF1 hyphen name one. Check where they are mapping it. Don't worry about the other codes. Yeah, LF1 hyphen name one. Recorded. Comment this recorded value and pass your work area value. W underscore LF1 hyphen what? Name one. Then LF1 hyphen sort L. Yeah, here only now again comment the recorded value hyphen sortel done. LF1 hyphen land one. Yeah, this one comment the recorded value and here also W underscore LF1 hyphen what land one hyphen land one done. So I mapped all the fields. Now we have to map what table control fields. What is the relationship? Each vendor might contain multiple bank records na? And every time in the loop we have to increase the row ID. Okay, so keep that in mind. Yeah, now what you have to do is here where they are mapping this LFBK and bank S. Scroll down. Yeah, here they are mapping what LFBK and bank S. So what I'll do now, just before this, I'll within the loop I'll write one more loop. What is that? Loop at what is the other internal table? T underscore LFBK into what? W underscore LFBK. What is the common field between these two tables? Liftnar. Well, liftnar is equal to W underscore what? LF1 hyphen liftnar. Understood? Already we are in the loop. Already we are in the loop. So for each vendor, I need to loop the corresponding bank records. That's the reason I am using loop here. Loop at T underscore LFBK into so and so, where liftnar equal to so and so. Done. Now every time we have to construct the row ID na, because I don't know in the file a vendor might contain 0 or 1 or more bank records. So already for constructing the row ID, I took a field na. What is that field name? LV underscore row ID. Remember. LV underscore row ID. of type n. So see the technique here. So somewhere here, just before this loop, I'll say clear what lv underscore row id. Done. So see the technique here. Yeah, see the technique inside this. What is the first field here? LF, BKF, and bank case. Na? They are directly hard coding what? The row ID, but we don't know in the file. Each vendor might contain one table, one bank record or 1,000 bank record. So far what we are doing, we are not disturbing the field names. Just we are commenting the recorded value and replacing with what? Our work area. Because these field names are always static. Field names will never change. But whereas here, this field name depends on the corresponding row ID. Na? So field name also I have to generate dynamically. Field name also I should generate dynamically. So what I'll do is, for generating the field name, already we know in BDC data we have one field na? Data v underscore field name type what? BDC data hyphen f name. Already in BDC data structure we know that we have field what? F name. So see what I'll do. I declared a variable of that sort. So here I'll say, yeah, here I need to construct the field name. So the moment I enter the loop, the inner loop, I'll increment the row ID. I'll increment the row ID. I'll say LV underscore row ID. LV underscore row ID is equal to LV underscore row ID plus 1. It will increment by 1. Next, what I have to do? I have to construct the field name also, and I have to replace the recorded value with the work area value. So see what I'll do. I'll just comment this. I will construct the field name. How do you construct? Already I took a variable what? V underscore F name. See the logic here. Concatenate. The field name should be what? LF BK hyphen bank S only na. Concatenate LF BK hyphen bank S. Done. Here I'll say LV underscore row ID. Concatenate with this one. Into what? Into V underscore what? F name. That's all. Concatenate LFBK and bank case and this one. Okay, up to this. It will concatenate up to this and it will refer to the value of what? LV underscore row ID. What is the value of LV underscore? Incremented by 1. Na? So 0 plus 1 becomes 0 1. Okay, it will concatenate those two and puts it in what? V underscore F name. Now I'll say perform. Now you call the subroutine. What is the subroutine? BDC underscore field using what is the field name now? V underscore F name, and instead of recorded value you have to pass the work area value now. What is that? W underscore LF BK hyphen bank S. So what is the change? For the normal input fields, you will not disturb the field names. You will just replace the recorded value with what? Your work area value. But in case of table control fields, the field name depends on what? Row ID. So we need to construct the field name dynamically. So this is the logic for that. Concatenate this one with this value and this again this single quotes, this parenthesis into what? V underscore F name. Repeat this process for the rest of the field. So I'll just comment this and copy just what is that? L bank yes, bank L row ID into so and so. Here also bank L. Done. Okay, and then again this also comment this part and just copy this, Control C, concatenate bank SCLN N, and this also with what? N. Understood? So the main thing is this only. In case of table control, the field names also should be dynamically generated. It depends upon what? Row ID. So I'm constructing the field name and then I'm mapping it. Done into LV underscore F name. That's all. Then end loop over end loop, and then we are calling this transaction. Instead of end loop, we have to close the main loop also now. So what? End loop close group is required, close data sheet is not required. Let me save it, check for the syntax error. Done. So the main logic is here only. The table control field names are dynamic. It always depends on what? Corresponding row ID. So if you observe this file here, for the first vendor, how many bank records are there? 3 bank records. Okay, so what happens here, this inner loop will be iterated how many times? 3 times. So 0 1 0 2 0 3. Again for the second vendor, anyway we are clearing it, again it starts from 0 0, again we are incrementing. Understood? So this is the way to dynamically construct the field names for your table control. That's all. That is the entire point. Is it clear to everyone? The field names should be dynamically generated. In case of normal fields, we are not disturbing the IO field names, just we are replacing the recorded value with what? Corresponding work area field. But whereas here, you need to what? Refer to what? You need to dynamically generate the table control field name, because the field name always depends on the corresponding row ID. And inside the loop, for every iteration, I'm incrementing this row ID by 1. That's all. Okay, so let me save it. When I execute session name, I'll give the session name as something S70. Keep session. Execute this. Allow. Session object would be created. S70 is a session object name. Oh, what happened? Invalid access to a string offset too large. Where is the error, boss? Acha. Since it is a string, it is not recognizing, I think. Okay. So I'll do one thing. The problem is here. Okay, so I'll do one thing. Let me declare it as not as a string. I'll declare it as str of 100. Type what? C. Let me save it. Check for the syntax error. Done. Execute. I'll give the session object name as something S71. I'll give now S71. I'll keep the session object. Execute. Done. Session object is what? Created. S71. S71. Let me process it. How do you process? SM35. SM35. S71 is a session object name. Okay. Yeah, yesterday we had some session objects in the background, na? In the background. Okay. So they're all processed here. Where is that? Yeah, they are yesterday's one. I've scheduled it in the background. It has taken some time. You can check the logs for that in the yesterday's case. It has generated some logs also. Right? All are incorrect. All are incorrect. Why incorrect? Transaction error. That materials are already available. That's the reason. For this one, material type does not, index type does not. All are what? Incorrect. No problem. But it is processed here. Let us process this session. SM35. What is that? S71. New only, na? Done. I'll choose process. I can schedule in background, but just I want to understand whether the data is correctly mapped or not. So I'll choose process. Foreground process. Yeah. This is the first record done. This is okay. Continue. Oh, vendor 800 is already there. Acha, acha. And 800 is already there. So I'll give 850. Done. 850 I give. Done. That this is the data map properly. This first vendor has got how many records? 3 bank records. Done. Yes. Yes. Okay. So this is the data. Okay. This is the data. It is successfully mapped. I'll continue. Yeah. This is the second record. Continue. Done. Yeah, how many bank records for the second vendor? 2 bank records. Done. This is my third vendor. Only 1 bank record. Yes, only 1 bank record. Processing a batch input session completed. Yes, it is what processed successfully. processes successfully, right? All are processed. So you can go and check the tables. Okay, if you go to what table? LFA1 table, 2826, 2826. Earlier 2821. Why I got 26? Huh? Acha. Okay. Srikant has asked one doubt. No, at that time I created some records. So 2826 done. What else? LFBK. LFBK table. How many entries? 1170 it seems. 1170. Okay. You can check it directly here. What is that? 801 has got two records, two bank records. Yes, we have two bank records. What else? 802 has got what? Only one bank record. Then what else? 800, 850, I think. 850, yeah. Yeah, 850 has got what? Three bank records. Working fine. So the main logic is generating the table control field names dynamically. The table control field names are not static. It needs to be generated dynamically. So this is the logic you have to follow for that. For normal fields, just you have to replace the recorded value with the work area fields. But for table control fields, you have to replace the field name also and generate it dynamically and depends on the corresponding row ID. So entire concept will be here only. In the interview point of view also, the interviewer is asking BDC using table control means this is the main thing he is asking. What is that? Whenever you do the data migration by using recording technique, the field names for the normal IO fields will be static. But in case of table control, the field names are not static. The field names depends on the corresponding row ID. The field name will be suffixed to the corresponding row ID. So in the recorded program, what you have to do, we need to generate the field name also dynamically. How do you generate it? You have to suffix to the corresponding row ID. Okay, this is the logic for that. Is it clear to everyone? Right, so I have done it for xk01. You try to do it for mm01, or you try to do it for xd01. In that transactions also we have the table control. Okay, or you take xd01 only. We have kn1 table and knbk table, customer master data, customer bank data. Okay, so try to map the customer bank records, same concept, but only thing is the field names would be different. Any questions?
Hello, student. Hello.
Yeah, Chinna, tell me.
Can you explain in debugging mode this part? Debugging.
No, there. What is the change? It's very simple, na?
Yes.
Simple ABAP. Okay, I'll put the breakpoint. Just observe. I'll put the breakpoint. Before that, I'll go to the vendor. I'll give this as something 860, 860, 860, 860, 861, 861, 861, 862, 862. Okay, done. Let me save it. This is my data. Okay, so when I'll put the breakpoint there. Let me execute. I'll give the session object name as S72. Keep session. Session object would be created. Yeah, you can see this now. Okay, if you see the row ID 00 na 00 done. Now I'm looping it. Yeah, what is the listener I got? 860. Okay, this 860 has got how many bank records? Three bank records. So the moment I enter the loop, row ID is increment by 1. So I got what? 01. I got 01. Now see here, I'm concatenating this. What I'm concatenating? LFBK bank is up to this is one value. Up to this is one value. What is the other value? LV row ID. And this is another value. We are concatenating these three things. We are concatenating this part, LV row ID, and this part into what? V underscore F name. See here, when I say F5, see the value of V underscore F name. When I say F5, done. What I got? LFBK hyphen bank case of what? 01. Then this part is understood now. We are mapping a field name. I'll say F6. I'm not interested in that. Then clear VF name. Again, the second field is constructed. Again, bank L of 01. Done. Okay. I'll say F5. Done. Again, bank N. I'll say F6. Done. Done. I'll say F8. Yeah, again, I'm clearing the row ID. Okay, see how many times it is looped here? 3 times. Because the first record has got what? First vendor has got what? 3 records. So 03. I'm clearing now. It is set to 00 now. Now for the second vendor, I think that is 862 or whatever it is, 861. It has got 2 bank records. So again I'm constructing that. Row ID is incremented by what? 1. 01. Again I'm constructing. Right, so what is the field name? Bank case of 01. Understood? For the 860, it has iterated the inner loop for 3 times. So row ID is 010203. 010203. Okay, what is the BDC data internal table name here? What is the BDC data internal table name? I don't know what is that. Where I can check it? Yeah, here. BDC data is the name of the internal table. Yeah, you can check in that way also. BDC data is the name of the internal table. See once again, I'll give the session object name as S75. Done. Hello. Yeah, if you see the row ID 00, done. I'm incrementing by 1, 01. Done. See the field name. What is the field name? Bank S of 01. Done. Done. Next, bank L of 01. Done. Bank N of 01. Done. Okay. So if you see this vendor number, what is the vendor number? W underscore LFA1 hyphen Lifnar. What is the vendor number? 860. I'll say F5. I'll say F5. Yeah, again I'm incrementing. It become what now? 02. Okay. Now again what? So and so done. Bank case of 02. Yeah, clear DDC data. Done, 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 done. Okay, F6 done. F6 done. Again, row ID is what? 03 now. Because for the same 860 we have 3 bank records. Done. It is concatenated. Done. Done. Okay, so let me check. Let me check BDC data internal table. Can I see it here? Yeah, BDC data. You can observe here. Achha, I'm not interested. You can see there field name. What is the field name here? Bank N of what? 03. Bank N of 03. So this field name also we are dynamically constructing. That is the main focus here. The rest of the part is simple. What is the doubt in this part? Is it clear now, Chinna? We are,
Yeah, still.
we are concatenating this part, this one. This is as a value. See, I can use concatenate only for the string variables. LV underscore void is what type? Alphanumeric. Na? This also comes under character family. So it will concatenate these 3. This is one part. This is another part. This is another part. It will concatenate these 3 and puts it in what V underscore F name. Every time row ID will be incremented with 1.
Okay. Okay. I got it.
Yeah. Done. Raghavendra, Srikanth, is it clear? Sayed? Okay. Done. So I'll wind off now. Tomorrow we'll see other part. Chalo.